Okay, what is up, everybody? So today I am here with Ben Swenson, who wants to become a doctor in the future. He's currently in medical school at Midwestern, which is in Glendale, Arizona, and he wants to be an ER doc or an anesthesiologist, just kind of debating between the two, so still. He also happens to be my brother-in-law, which is fun. But what's up, Ben? How's it going?
Good. What's up, Cody? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to have you on because, this podcast has been a lot of like businesses and people, entrepreneurs.
For sure.
But yours is a little different. You're like, I chose what I'm doing and I'm sticking through it for 15 years or 100 years, it feels like.
Yeah, no, 100 years, honestly. Kind of a different spin, though.
So kind of explain where you're at right now, like the school you're going to, kind of your current state of your journey of becoming a doctor.
Yeah. So I just started medical school this year. I'm down in Glendale, Arizona at a school called Midwestern University. So first year med student there. It's a huge change, big curveball, trying to adjust to med school life and stuff. But moved down to Arizona with my wife, Savannah, back in July. And then we just started med school, and it's been kind of a ride, but it's been good.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So it's your first year of med school.
Yeah.
Which ends when?
The first year, so it'll go through beginning of May, and then we get a little break the first summer. Kind of up to us to decide, do we want to do some research, take a break and just chill before our second year, or do you want to just like study, get ready for boards the following year? It's kind of open up to us what we want to do that first summer, but yeah, I'll finish up in May.
Okay. And how long is it going to take officially? Like to become an anesthesiologist or an ER doc, how much schooling?
So it depends. So med school in general is 4 years. So you'll do the first 2 years are more kind of classwork. And then the last half, the second 2 years, you're kind of doing clinical rotations and applying to residency programs. So those 4 years are what medical school is, and then you have to do a residency program after those 4 years to kind of specialize, and those vary depending on the specialty. So most of them are usually 3 to 4 years, but you could do a neurosurgery residency that's like up to 7 years. So it just depends on the residency, but typically 3 or 4 years after you graduate medical school.
And so are you planning on those 3 or 4 years additionally?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a long time.
Yeah, for sure. It's a long road, but yeah, you kind of just have to keep your head down.
Okay, well, that's where you're right now, but I want to take you back to the beginning. A lot of people grow up and say, yeah, I want to be a doctor. I want to do this. I want to do that. I wanted to be a pro football player.
Yeah, I know. We all thought we'd make it to the NBA someday.
Right, exactly. But at what point, so take me back to the moment you decided, okay, I want to be a doctor. This is the field I want to go into.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't really considering medicine or anything in the medical field, growing up at all. I originally, kind of imagined myself going into some type of business. My dad actually teaches marketing at BYU, so I kind of thought, okay, that could be a good direction to go. But I didn't start thinking about medicine until my mission, actually. I served in Hungary, and I kind of had a little experience out there that kind of really got me thinking about medicine.
For those that might not know what a mission is, Ben served a 2-year volunteer service mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
Where he goes for 2 years, teaches about the church, does volunteer work.
Yeah.
And you went to Hungary.
Yeah. Lived in Budapest for most of it.
What language did you speak?
Hungarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was it learning Hungarian?
That was brutal. It's such a hard language. I mean, any language is going to be hard to learn, but...
Right. I learned Spanish.
Yeah.
Hablo español. But say something in Hungarian.
Hogy vagy? Ben vagyok. Szolgáltam a misszión Magyarországon.
Wow. That sounds harder than medical school.
Yeah, it took a long time. Yeah, I definitely did not feel good with Hungarian for about a year of my mission. It takes like that long to be comfortable, and yeah, it was definitely brutal, but just living there, you definitely pick it up. So
wow, that's incredible that you speak that language.
Yeah.
So you're on your mission, and you said there's an experience. What was the experience that propelled you to wanting to go to medical school?
Yeah, so it was kind of a traumatic experience, to be honest. We were teaching one of our investigators is someone who was interested in the church, and we kind of had a hard moment with that investigator, and had to call an ambulance for her, and it was pretty traumatic and kind of a really dark place at the time. And I just remember these paramedics coming in to this tiny little apartment, and just like I felt so helpless before they got there, and then they got there and they knew exactly what they were doing, and they brought like so much confidence and reassurance, and I saw that, and that really made me think like I want to be able to do something similar. I want to be able to help out in a similar way and be confident in those types of situations, and know what I'm doing, and help people who go through traumatic experiences like that. And so that really got me thinking about a career in the medical field, not even necessarily medical school, but maybe being a paramedic or something along those lines. And so after that experience, I came home from my mission and went to BYU, and still kind of had some thoughts about maybe going into business. So I took a few business classes and took a few classes that were more geared toward pre-med, and I loved those classes. Okay. And so I was like, this is what my passion is, and so I just decided to go for it then.
Wow, that's a pretty cool story. It's crazy that a lot of people imagine their families or doctors or something like that, but you had an experience where you wanted to help people.
Yeah.
Which led you into this field. Yeah. So tell me, so you went to BYU. How was college? Like for someone that's like in high school that might listen to this, or wanting to like change their, major to medical, something medical. What was it like college for the 4 years? Like how hard was it?
Yeah.
What was your experience?
There were definitely some hard steps. I think there are definitely some classes that are honestly more hard than they should be, honestly, to maybe weed people out. I don't know, but there are definitely hard classes. But I would also say, for anyone who's considering going through medical school, like don't let that be a deterrent. I mean, you put in the work and you can accomplish anything, honestly. So definitely some hard classes in the pre-med field, but I would just say BYU, in my experience, prepared me really well so far in my first year of medical school. So I feel like they do a really good job of preparing their students. And, if you are considering going to college, or if you're already in college and are considering a career in the medical field, just take a class or two and just see, if it is something you love, and if you do like it. And honestly, I had to take some chemistry classes and I hated chemistry, but
did you like biology?
Yeah, I like biology. I mean, there were some classes.
I think I failed biology 3 times. I'm like, okay, I should probably stop taking this class.
No, yeah, like I had to take organic chemistry, which is has a horrible reputation. I had to retake it, and because I didn't do well at all. And so but you just deal with what comes, and you might fail a class or two, but if it's your dream or if it's your passion, like don't let anything stop you. So you just keep going.
I mean, the thing is like, going in, like a lot of business major. I mean, I was a business major.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are like, I don't need college, drop out. But like, you can go do sales, make money, start your own business, something like that. But like, you can't just go start a clinic or start doing surgery.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference, because you really can't just like go do medicine on your own. No one will want to go to you. But business, there's definitely like different aspects of learning out in the world, and maybe some people do better in the college atmosphere and learning from that environment, and others might do better just trying to hack out in the world. And so, but yeah, definitely with medicine, it's like there's one way to go.
Right. Okay, so like someone's like, what do you wish you would, if you could tell yourself something before you started college, what would you say? Like just pretty much what you've been saying, or sort of like something you wish you would have known. Like I'm getting along like the routes, like what classes do you wish you would have taken earlier on? Yeah. Or like what tests or like things to prepare you for like what's the test you have to take?
The big one, they're just called board exams. Okay. It's called Step 1 or USMLE. There's like a few different names, but oh, you mean before pre-med? Right. Yeah, the MCAT.
Oh, MCAT. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
So like, how was it preparing for the MCAT? And it was like, tell me that. Talk me through the MCAT.
Yeah, the MCAT was brutal. Honestly, if I were to go back and tell myself something, I would just say, don't be scared. The MCAT can be so daunting, and a lot of classes at the university can be daunting. And even if you fail a test or you fail a class, it's like don't be scared or don't let that set you back. I remember there's one doctor I talked to. He's an ER doc actually, and he told me, he's like, yeah, when I was back in college, he's like, I was wrestling, and he's like, I failed a few classes. He's like, I'm not like the typical like straight A's, always have my stuff together. He's like, so don't let, anything set you back. Like, be confident in yourself. Know that you can do what you set your heart out to. So don't,
Right.
let these little things set you back. But the MCAT, it's a huge test. It's like an 8-hour test.
Right.
And so I probably started studying for the MCAT maybe 6 or 7 months in advance.
Okay.
So I took it
Can you only take it once?
No, you can take it multiple times. I think I only took it once. I think there's a period of time you have to wait in between taking it.
Right.
If you do take it a second or third time. But most people, I shouldn't say most people, but you want to obviously take it as little as possible because it's such a brutal test. But so I started studying maybe 6 or 7 months before I took it. Most people take it, April, May, June. That's usually kind of heading into the application cycle of medical school.
Right.
And you have to have your MCAT score because that's kind of king with applications. That's the first thing most schools look at, I would say. So yeah, started studying for that, and it's kind of just this like comprehensive exam with the things that you've been studying in pre-med, undergrad. So there's chemistry, physics, biology, most of those basic things that you can think of, and then there's actually like a reading portion that has nothing to do with science at all. Like I remember on my MCAT there was like one passage about like Greek mythology, and then the next passage was like about NFL football or something. It was super random, okay. But it's more just like testing your ability to just like, take information and answer questions about it in a short amount of time. So
what did so you took the MCAT, you did well on it.
Yeah. I was very happy with my score. But that's relative, like right. I was, hoping for a certain score and was happy with what I got, and but that I exceeded my expectations, but they were my own expectations, Obviously there's a lot of people who did better than me. So
Ben's being humble. He's a smart guy. So tell me, like, what was the balance between, when you're talking, you're like, oh, all these classes, work hard, get it done. It's like, okay, so that's 4 years of working your arse off.
Yeah.
How did you balance like studying between college life?
Yeah.
Like, how was it, like, what did you go out and have fun, or did you just study?
For sure. No. That's the thing. Like, some people, you think like, oh, you just have to sit and study all the time. And like, no, if you're going to be successful, you have to balance your life.
Right.
You have to take time away and, do what you love, or do the things that, help you decompress, because you won't survive if you don't do those things. And so, I for sure, had a good college life, and, spent my time, just hanging out, being with friends, going, grabbing dinner, whatever.
Right. Like, how would you balance it? Like, what would kind of like your schedule look like?
Obviously, I would say, morning to mid-afternoon, that's what I would just focus on my classwork. I'd go to class, and then I would try to study during that time. Balancing in MCAT, I actually took an MCAT prep course called Altius, and there were some classes at night that I would go to like twice a week, I think it was. And so, had to balance that in there, and definitely, leading up to the MCAT, there was a lot more studying that happened, but honestly, just finding the right balance for you personally. There's no right way to do it.
Right.
But I would definitely say, like, you have to have those moments of decompression, and a lot of them, not just a little. Like, you got to be able to, like, go ball, or, go to the gym, whatever it is, just hang out.
And then you got married your third year, fourth year? Was it your last year? Right.
Yeah, it was my last year.
So so I'm married to Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany's little sister is Savannah. And Savannah married Ben. So explain kind of how you, just a rundown of like what point of college you met her and getting married to her and how much like that took away from your studying time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, I have you and Tiff to thank because I met Savannah through Salon Preche. I was getting my hair cut there one time, and long story short, met Savannah's mom, and she's the one who set us up. But that was my last year of college. So I was getting ready to graduate, and hold that. No, that was my second last year. We got married my last year.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. So we started dating, and that definitely like adds in an element of, you know, balancing life, and especially when we were dating more seriously. I mean, you have someone else that you're thinking of more often. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna go do this or that. Like, it's like, all right, I need to think about like what's Sav doing, and, you know,
Right.
bounce that in. And so, but Sav honestly was very helpful, and she's always been so supportive of, you know, my dream to go to medical school. And she honestly is one who like kind of kicks me into gear a lot of the time, like go study for the MCAT or go do this. And
Right.
like even now in medical school, she does the same thing. Like she keeps me on track. So
That's good.
yeah,
Sav's a good person.
yeah, she's awesome.
So you got married, you graduated college. What was it like? How did you apply? Or like, how did you figure out what school you wanted to go to? What was that process applying and getting into medical school?
Yeah. So leading up, into taking the MCAT and then the application cycle. So for most people that aren't super familiar, most medical schools start taking applications around May or June, and then you kind of go, and throughout that cycle, you're applying during the summer, and then fall, winter, you're kind of interviewing at medical schools. But a lot of it depends on, you know, your MCAT score, your GPA, what other kind of extracurricular activities you have on your application. And so I wanted to really know my MCAT score, which is scary because I don't think I knew my score at the point that I was applying. I think I was sending out applications before then. But
What, like, do you just say like, I'll send you my MCAT when I get it?
yeah, so it's just computer based, and once it's available,
You go and like enter it in.
I didn't even have to enter it in. It's just kind of made available to the schools that you apply to.
Okay.
So all of the applications are electronic, and so I think you have to kind of allow them to see it, but obviously you would do that because they want to know what your score is so they can evaluate you. But yeah, leading up to it, I was looking into a lot of medical schools, and I just wanted to throw a wide net, obviously, and give myself the best chance of getting into any school, because just getting into a school is hard. And so I researched a lot of schools that I was interested in going to, and then applied. I think I applied to about 30 schools.
Did you have to like fill out like the essays and questions for all 30 of them?
Yeah, it's kind of a brutal process.
Wow.
Yeah, there's kind of a two-step process. So you do one big application.
Okay.
And that application, you're kind of filling out what's called like a personal statement. So it's kind of like, who are you? And it's very, very open on what you want to say. But
Right.
a lot of applicants take it in different directions. But that's big. And so you kind of write that out, and there's a few other aspects, and you basically choose what schools you want to send it to. And then once you send off that primary application, each school, if they're interested, which most of them at this point are, they send you a secondary application, which is more geared specifically toward that school.
Right.
So you get a lot of secondary applications in, and that's when you have to write a ton of essays for each of those schools.
I only applied for BYU before college.
Yeah.
And I was like, this took forever, and it was stressful.
Yeah.
And then they didn't accept me. Losers.
Losers.
They're lost though, right?
Honestly, they missed out.
BYU.
Yeah.
Just kidding, BYU. Love them. They just lost someone great.
For sure. They lost a good one.
But wow, like, did that take away from your time? Or by that time, like, you've already been through college, like you've already taken your hard classes?
Yeah. So I was graduated at that point. I graduated in, or no, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, that was before my senior year. But I spent most of that summer um, basically just fully focused on applications.
Wow.
And that was hard just because I felt like I was in school just writing essays constantly.
Wow.
Wherein like
Did you ever just like, I mean, me thinking myself, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to kind of copy and paste this same exact essay over this one. I'll change the names.
For sure. No, like you have to do that because a lot of schools, they do ask similar things. They ask like, tell us about a time that you went through a hardship, or tell us why you want to practice medicine.
I didn't make the baseball team.
Yeah.
The next one didn't make the basketball team.
Exactly. But yeah, so you try and double dip if you can, just to like save yourself time, and and it's who you are. So you're sharing your same experiences with each school, but it's definitely hard. A lot of kids will say, they're like, I did not like taking the MCAT, but I would take the MCAT 10 more times as opposed to applying and going through the application process and writing those essays. Like that was the brutal part of trying to get into medical school, not the MCAT. So, but it's kind of a double-edged sword.
So of the 30, so for someone out there, for getting in medical school, what's the percentage of people that get into medical school? Like if you graduate, it's like, oh, you can get in. It just depends on how good the school is, or is it like, you still might not even get into medical school? Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of applicants that don't get in anywhere and have to reapply. Or I don't know the exact percentages, but I want to say like just applications alone, like a lot of schools get, I want to say over like 10,000 applications for like maybe 100 spots or something like that.
Wow,
this is just insane.
It's 8,000 or 10,000?
Like 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is.
Yeah, I don't know if those numbers are completely accurate, but that's what's coming off my head. Like I think it's close to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was Midwestern the only school to go back to, or did you have a couple choices?
No, yeah. So I had a few choices. So with medical schools, there's kind of two different types of medical schools. There's MD schools and DO schools.
Okay.
They're both medical schools. The difference between those DO schools, it's called a doctor of osteopathic medicine. But those DO schools teach kind of an extra aspect of medicine that they call osteopathic medicine. So there's two kind of separate applications, and Midwestern is a DO school. But so I applied to both MD and DO schools, and so I had Midwestern on my radar for sure, and I had like the University of Utah on my radar. And then definitely, just a lot of other schools across the country, but yeah, just tried to throw a wide net, and I got from most schools, I got a secondary application, and which is pretty typical. A lot of people think, oh, they just want my money because you have to like pay to submit those applications. So, but, and I tried, I'm pretty sure I did every secondary application that I got. And then from that point on, once you submit a secondary application, then you're waiting to hear back to see if they invite you for an interview.
Right.
And so that's the big thing. You really know they're interested if they invite you to an interview. And so from that point on, I got an interview invite from Midwestern. They were the first school to invite me. And so I was really excited about that. And so I went down I think it was in October, to interview down there.
Okay.
But I got some interest from a few other schools. There's one school in Missouri called Kansas City University. I got an invite from the University of Utah for an interview, and I also got invited. There's a school down in St. George called Rocky Vista. It's kind of newer. So from that school, and then a few other schools. But those four are the only ones I actually went to the interview. I got a few other interview invites, but I didn't end up going because I was more interested in the schools that were already asking me. So
okay. And then you ended up choosing Arizona.
Yeah. So I got accepted to those three schools, Midwestern, Kansas City, and Rocky Vista. And then I got put on the wait list for University of Utah.
Okay.
But
what is a wait list like?
So wait list, they basically have filled their class. So they've selected all the students that they want to come. But the thing is, like, some students get multiple acceptances, and they're, so one student could get accepted by the U, but also get accepted by, University of Washington, and they're deciding. And so technically they're filling up a spot at the U, but if they end up choosing to go to University of Washington, that opens up a spot at University of Utah. So I was on a wait list, and they basically said, we won't know if we have a spot for you until, it could be up until like the first day of school. So I kind of put them on the back burner and just said, if I'm supposed to go there, I'll get a spot, but if not. So I was basically deciding. My top two schools were Midwestern and Kansas City.
Okay.
I loved both those schools. And yeah, basically came down to Midwestern and loved that school, loved the area, and deciding with Sav, like we just decided Arizona would be a great place for us. And I have a brother who lives down in Mesa, and so we just decided and felt really good about Midwestern, and so I decided to go down there.
Okay. So it's exciting. So I want to get into, when everything's with medical school, I think, holy shit, there goes your money.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
No, that's why I'm surprised you invited me on Quest for Dough, because I'm going the wrong way.
Your quest, it takes a long time before you make the dough.
For sure.
But your knowledge gain is a lot more valuable than a lot of other people's knowledge. So tell me, I'm just curious, like, and for people out there listening, like, what is, like, when you decide this route, are they just like, oh, this is what it's going to be? And you're like, holy cow. Or are you like prepared for what it's going to cost? And like, what is like how does it work?
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever be fully prepared with how much I have to pay and how much student loan debt I'm in. But yeah, it's kind of just one of those things where, it's an investment, and I have to remember and like think of it like that. I'm investing in, my future career, and so, but it's a lot of money, and it'll take some time once I'm out and actually earning money. It'll take some time to pay back, but
right. So how does it work? Like they just like, oh, it's going to be $400,000 for this 4 years or something.
Yeah.
And they give you a lump sum that you have to like budget.
No. So at my school, I'm not sure if this works the same way at every school, but basically I'm working off federal loans, and my school basically, tells those federal loans like what their tuition is, and then kind of an estimate of cost of living in Glendale, Arizona, and maybe other expenses. And so based off that, there's kind of a range of loans that I'm allowed to take out. And what we do, and it's kind of nice, is we take out the max amount of loans that I'm allowed to take out, and it's split up per term. So basically every term, so we have 4 terms in a year, and each of those the school I don't even see the money that goes towards tuition. They just take it right out of the loans.
Okay.
And then there's a little bit on top of that we get for living expenses, and that's just, directly deposited into our bank account. And so we have to budget that, but it's not just like one lump sum. It's like split up.
Okay.
So we kind of like get a lump sum and get that like amount and kind of live off that for about 3 months. But the reason why we take out the max amount is there's this kind of cool thing that we can do at the end of that kind of loan period, about 3 months. If you haven't, spent all of that money, you're allowed to give back some of the loans without it even, being touched with interest or anything. So it's like you didn't even take it out in the first place.
Right.
So that's what we really try to do, and we've been able to give back a good amount of money, and we feel good about it, even though it's small drop in the bucket. But yeah, it just feels good that it's it's not touched with interest, because that's what really kills you in your loans is interest on top of
what is the interest rates on school loans, stuff like this
right now. So I'm given 2 loans because one has a max amount and I need more than that for my tuition. So I'm working off 2 loans. I think the one loan, it's like a direct federal something. I think it's about 7%.
Oh.
And then the other loan, which is a smaller amount, is, I want to say, more around like 4 or 5%.
Okay.
So it's smaller, but
still, the government is stealing your money.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But so like, I'm just curious. So you're doing this. I have no doubt that you're going to finish school and get a job. Yeah. Like, I know your work ethic. Like, you're going to work until you can make money.
Yeah.
But is it often people are going through, get like 2 or 3 years in, and it's like they don't finish, and then just have these I mean, that's just America, I guess, with all these school loans.
Yeah.
But is
Yeah. No, that happens. People drop out and people get to medical school and either realize, it's really not what they want to do, or, just can't cut it or hack it and, drop out. And honestly, I'm not sure exactly, how they handle that with loans, or if there's any type of loan forgiveness. I don't know, but
just vote for Bernie Sanders.
I know, honestly. but yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure with it because, you're investing this much money in yourself. So you have to succeed, you know? And so there's pressure with that, and pressure of, making it through medical school and, getting into, a good enough residency, or finding a good enough job where you can pay those loans back, and you're not just always burdened with them throughout your life.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of pressure that comes with it.
Wow. So when you get out of medical school, like when do you, because right now you don't pay anything on a monthly, because
yeah.
When does do they say, okay, once, what is the thing that kicks it into place where it's like, now you're paying back?
Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure. So once you graduate, obviously you stop taking out loans because you're not paying for tuition, and you get into a residency. And when you're in residency, you're kind of still like half student, half doctor. So you start making a salary, but it's not a lot. But I think during residency, there's some type of freeze period where, that like monthly interest doesn't kick in yet.
Right.
But you can pay, still like pay off, a chunk of your loans if you want, or if you can. And so a lot of people try to use that time to really, try to like take a little chunk out of their loans because of that. Obviously it's hard to, because you're not making a ton of money yet, but yeah, I think there is some type of freeze period during that residency period of time. And then once you finish your residency and you get hired and you're, working a real job, that's when it like really kicks in, and, you're paying that monthly interest. And
right.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got into school, you and Sav moved down there, you had your first year.
Yeah.
Was there anything unexpected in your first year, or to go pretty much how you thought it would?
Yeah, I would say this first year, it's definitely been an adjustment. I wouldn't say I study like most people. A lot of people were telling us, oh, you're going to be so busy, you won't ever see each other. You'll just, maybe see each other at night, and you'll just be studying all the time. But that for us has not been true. We've actually been able to figure out a way where we spend a lot of time together, and I study from home a lot. We live really close to the school, which is nice. I just walk to school every day, but I have a lunch break where I'll come home and we eat lunch together. And so that's been one thing that's been a surprise, is how much time that I have been able to spend with Sav, and we've been able to like work our schedules. So like we get to see each other a lot, and that's been, really helpful.
Right.
But it's definitely a grind. Like that's totally true. I mean, it's fast. Like that's probably the biggest thing that I would say with med school, is it's just fast.
Right.
They just kick a lot of information at you at once, and people will say like, oh, it's like drinking from a fire hose or whatever, but it's kind of true. You're just pounded with information, and then you're tested on it and tested on it and tested on it. And you're just like, kind of struggling to tread water. But, if you keep, you get in a good routine and, have good habits, then, you can do it. And I'd go back to like, that same thing we talked about with like undergrad. You need that balance. And that was one thing. A lot of, when I started, we have like a lot of second and third year students that kind of give us advice. And a lot of those students kind of told us, don't forget about your hobbies or your life away from med school. Like keep that, because you need that. If you love, biking, or if you love
golfing,
exactly. There's a lot of good golf courses.
If I lived in Arizona,
yeah,
I would be like, okay, well, it'd be like an addiction to golf.
I know, honestly. And there honestly are kids that like go golf, quite a bit. And that's, you need that time away from school. And just because you're grinding so much all the time, if you don't give your body or your mind a rest, like you'll just crash and you'll burn out.
Right.
So that's, you just need that balance in life. And so that's another thing that I feel like we've been able to figure out fairly well so far, is just, finding that right balance to keep our heads above water. So,
okay. So, I mean, that's kind of where you guys are at right now.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get going. So like, what does the future look like? So, I mean, usually with like, when I bring people on, I'm like, where do you envision your business in 6 to 12 months?
Yeah.
And it's like making $1 million,
Yeah.
but you know, your schedule for the next 7 years.
For sure. Yeah.
So kind of just run down like what it looks like. You already did. So like you have 3 more years of just medical school.
Yeah. So the big thing right now is I'll start studying. I kind of mentioned this. I thought you were asking about these tests, but when you're actually asking about the MCAT, but there's a big test coming up a year from this summer. They're called the boards. And that's kind of really what determines whether, what residency you get into or, but that's coming up this next summer. And so that's a big thing. And then once I take those boards, then I'll be able to start, my rotations. And rotations, the last 2 years of medical school really help you figure out like what you want to do or what you feel like you're good at. And so that's kind of, the future upcoming. But after that, getting into a residency program, it's almost like applying to medical school all over again. Like we could, that could take us completely, somewhere else out of state, or, we could end up honestly wherever. Right. So,
and residency is like where you go and you're in the workforce, right?
Yeah. So, if say you get accepted into like an ER residency, like you're going to be working in a certain hospital, in the ER, and you're kind of just like, that's where you really learn like the ropes of like, being an ER doc. And so, but that's like obviously farther down the road, but, and then after residency, then that's when you really start applying for jobs. And, that's like kind of where, you start, settling down where you think you want to be, and, trying to like make the money to pay back your loans. And that's way down the road for me. That's
right.
Like honestly 6 or 7 years farther down the road, which seems like an eternity. But for me, it's just like I've come this far, and it's just, you kind of just keep your head down and don't even think about it. It's like the debt you can't think about, the time you can't think about. You just kind of have to go.
I'm thinking, because I stopped going to school, but I want to go back, and I'm just like, okay, I have like probably 2 years of schooling left. I'm like,
seems like forever.
Yeah, like 2 years of school. Like what? Let alone 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the beginning you said you wanted to be like an ER doc or an anesthesiologist. Kind of explain. So like those, like why you're thinking about those. Do you think it's gonna be one of those two for sure?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say for sure. I'm honestly still really, really open. And like I said, like you really kind of get a better feel of, what you like when you're doing your rotations, because you have to rotate, with different specialties. You do family med rotation, you do OBGYN rotations. And so you're really seeing a lot of like different specialties. And so you get a better feel. But as of right now, yeah, those are two fields that I'm very interested in. I would say ER, I was an EMT while I was at BYU, and I loved kind of that aspect, like the trauma and like the emergency aspect of medicine. And so just that day to day where you're seeing different things all the time, and that satisfaction of, you kind of immediately helping people who are in need. And obviously there's a lot of stress that comes along with that, and you see a lot of traumatic situations, and that can be very stressful. But I feel like I have like the right temperament for it. And so that kind of leads me to that.
Now, don't want to be just like a wrist doctor.
Yeah, just a wrist doctor.
Just look at wrists all day.
Wrist expert. Go see Cody.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So, and then an anesthesiologist, like I know they're the ones that put an epidural in someone's back or help you breathe when you're out, right?
Yeah. So I'm interested in that as well. When I was one thing you have to do leading up to med school is you have to shadow doctors. And one doctor who let me shadow him all the time was an anesthesiologist. And so I got to see his day-to-day. And I loved his work and what he did. I loved that he got to be in the OR all the time with different surgeries, but at the same time, he saw different things all the time too. It's not that he was like a surgeon doing the same surgeries all the time. Like obviously his work stays very, similar, but he was seeing all these different surgeries and working with all these different types of people. And so I love that. And I love that he, gets to do epidurals and gets to be part of, bringing babies into this world while also, I thought that was really cool. And so,
Right.
so yeah, I'm really interested in anesthesia as well. And so those are kind of my top two. And I feel like I could be very happy in those. But we'll see, I'll do rotations and, you never know. Like a lot of people say what you think you want to do when you start med school totally changes. And that could be the case with me.
Right.
So, but
Well, I think you'll crush whatever you do. I know you will. Okay. Well, I mean, this has been so interesting. And honestly, I think anyone out there like that's interested in going to medical school or kids in high school,
yeah,
we should send them this podcast.
honestly, I hope this can be informative and maybe help kids who are interested in going to medical school,
Right.
understand the path and also feel like they can do it,
Right.
I'm not anything special or anyone special. Like you put the work in and if it's your passion, and that's what I think is key is, if it is your passion, then you will have the drive to do it.
Right.
If it's not, you're going to burn out because it's not something you love. But if you have that passion and drive, you'll get through it.
It's true. I mean, it's not my passion.
Yeah.
I can't even look at needle. Like I still, when Stans gets a shot or Tiff gets a shot or myself, I have to look away.
Yeah.
I have to sing my ABCs. I can't even see a shot.
I love it. Can you deal with like blood or anything?
Yeah. I mean, blood
Yeah.
isn't too bad. It's just like growing up, I was always like, shots aren't bad. They don't hurt. Because people were like scared. Kids were scared of shots.
Yeah.
And then with my friend Joe
Mhm.
to get a shot because he was scared of shots. And I was like, I'll go with you. It's not even bad. And he was sitting down. He's like, all scared. I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then they pulled it out and she pulled out the needle. I always thought the needle was like maybe a centimeter long.
Yeah.
Like maybe not even a centimeter, just a tiny thing that they just barely put in you. But no, the needle was like 4 inches.
Yeah. Just
They
so long.
stuck it through his arm to give him a shot. And I was like, how did that not just hit his bone? And I was like, and one of the most traumatic experiences of my entire life.
Yeah. You're like, I'm done.
And I was like, now I can't even look at needles because it just brings a weird feeling. But
Yeah.
so not for me. But like you said, if you're passionate about it or something like, because the thing is, passion is going to drive them to actually finish school.
For sure.
But yeah, I really do like. It's been cool doing this, just like hear your story and like what led you to it, like your experience through it.
Yeah.
But those that are going through medical school, this has been very informative.
Mm-hmm.
And like me listening to it, I'm like, wow, this is a cool path. Like medical school, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long one, but
Yeah, it is long. Is there anything else like you didn't cover? Anything we didn't say before I let you go?
oh yeah, I think we hit it all.
Okay. Well, I will be seeing you often because we're brothers now.
For sure. Yeah, I'll give you an update.
But in a year or so, we'll bring you on, see how your second year of medical school was, and if you're still planning on being an ER doc or an anesthesiologist or whatever it is.
See if I'm still making it, still alive.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks, Ben.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.